I'm Jill. Today I'm going to teach you how to make comparisons in English and answer the most important question of all. Which is better, the iconic Australian Tim Tam or Jill's homemade triple choc cookies? Let's get started. Okay, so if we want to compare two things, first we need words to describe these two things, and they are called adjectives. So let's have a look at two people here. Over here we have Mary. She is young, 22 years old, and she is short. So the two adjectives we use to describe Mary are young and short. Over here we have Bob. He is old, 82 years old, and he is tall. So the two adjectives we're using to describe Bob are old and tall. So now we're going to compare Mary and Bob using these adjectives in a comparative form. So if we want to compare Mary and Bob, we use the comparative form of the adjectives. Here the adjectives we're using have only one syllable, one sound. So young, short, old, and tall. So to make these into comparative adjectives, we simply add er and use the word than. So young becomes younger, short becomes shorter, old becomes older, and tall becomes taller. So we can say Mary is younger than Bob. Mary is shorter than Bob. Bob is older than Mary. And Bob is taller than Mary. Okay, let's look at some adjectives that change their spelling when they become comparatives. Two more adjectives to describe Mary and Bob. Here, Mary is happy. We can say she is happy. Poor Bob is sad. So he is sad. Let's take sad first of all. So Bob is sad. Bob is sadder than Mary. You see, we added the er, but also an extra d. This is because in some cases, we double the last consonant. When? When the adjective ends in a consonant, vowel, consonant. So like sad, S consonant, A vowel, D consonant. So we double the end consonant D. So sad becomes sadder. Two more examples. Hot becomes hotter. And big becomes bigger. So poor Bob is sadder than Mary. One more, let's look at Mary. Lucky Mary is happy. So she is happy. This adjective ends in a Y. This also changes the spelling in the comparative form. So adjectives ending in Y change to IER. So for example here, Mary is happier than Bob. The Y is changed to IER and we still add than. So Mary is happier than Bob. So this is how we make comparative adjectives from small adjectives. Okay, now let's look at some adjectives that are a little bit longer. Adjectives that have two or more syllables. Okay, here we've got some maths problems. A is easy, B is difficult, and C is very difficult. Okay, so here are our adjectives, easy and difficult. Easy, if you remember, ends in Y, so we change the Y to IER. So A is easier than B. Okay, now difficult. Difficult has three syllables. This is a longer adjective. With our longer adjectives, we don't add ER. We use more or less and the word than. So for example, here with difficult, B is more difficult than A. But here, B is less difficult than C. So C is very difficult. C is more difficult than B. So if the adjective is 2 or more syllables, a longer adjective, we don't use ER, we use more or less and still use than. Now there are 2 adjectives that don't follow the rules. Good and bad. These are irregular comparative adjectives. So we don't add ER, we don't say gooder or badder. Good changes to better and bad changes to worse. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. Okay, so here are some examples. If I want to eat my lunch, maybe I have some noodles, which fork is better? Plastic fork or a nice solid metal fork? I think for eating noodles, the metal fork is better than the plastic fork. One more example. If I want to eat soup, which is better? Chopsticks or a soup spoon? I think a soup spoon. So a spoon is better than chopsticks for eating soup. Okay, one more example. Which of these 2 views of the whiteboard is better? A or B? Okay, so which was better? A or B? B was black and white and far away. B was bad. A is good. So B is worse than A, definitely. Okay, I want to show you one other way we use to compare things. Comparisons using as. Okay, we've got 2 people again here. Jill, who's 21 years old, and Bill, who's 51 years old. Now if you look, they're both the same height. So we can say Jill is as tall as Bill because they are the same height. So when you're comparing 2 things that are the same, we can use as and as. So Jill is as tall as Bill. Both Jill and Bill are happy. They're the same happiness, so we can say Jill is as happy as Bill. So as means the same. So we're comparing things that are actually equal in some way. We can also use this with the negative to say they're not the same. So here Jill is 21 years old, but Bill is 51 years old. So Jill is not as old as Bill. So they're not the same age. This is the same as saying Jill is younger than Bill. So Jill is not as old as Bill, the same as Jill is younger than Bill. The other way round, we could say Bill is not as young as Jill, which is the same as saying Bill is older than Jill. So this is just an alternative way of comparing things. Okay, let's have a look in my garden and see if we can make some comparisons. Now I've got some passion fruits growing here, which I'm very excited about. I like passion fruits. They're different sizes. So this one is bigger than this one. Or we could say this one is smaller than this one. Or this one is not as small as this one. Or this one is not as big as this one. I'm also very excited about the tomatoes we have growing. Look at all these. This one's a little green. This one's a bit red. So I can say this tomato is redder than this tomato. Or this tomato is greener than this tomato. Or maybe we could use the adjective ripe. This tomato is riper than this tomato. Or this tomato is not as ripe as this tomato. When I want to relax at home, I can sit down in a chair. It's quite comfortable. Or I could sit down on the daybed. Much more comfortable. Okay, I have two dictionaries to compare. This is my English dictionary and this is my Spanish dictionary. So what can we say about my English dictionary? It's big, it's thick, it's heavy, and it was printed in 1998, so it's 22 years old. My Spanish dictionary is small, it's thin, it's light, and it was printed in 1958, so it's 62 years old. So can we make some comparisons with my English dictionary and my Spanish dictionary? Okay, so these are the sentences I came up with to compare my English dictionary, which I called A, and my Spanish dictionary, which I called B. So A is bigger than B. A is thicker than B. A is heavier than B. And A is not as old as B. Now I used this form because I think this dictionary is old and this dictionary is old. But they're not the same old. Both old, but not the same old. So A is not as old as B. B is smaller than A. B is thinner than A. B is lighter than A. And B is older than A. Did you get all of those sentences? And now what you've all been waiting for, the big comparison between the iconic Australian chocolate biscuit, the Tim Tam, and Jill's homemade triple choc cookies. Which is better? So, Jill asked me to compare these two cookies. So yeah, sure. Let me try and I'll tell you what I think. Crunchy, chocolatey, soft on the inside. Good. Round, looks good. Soft, but chewy. Delicious. So chocolatey. Amazing. Okay. So to compare, they're both okay. They're both good. This one is softer than this one. This one is tastier than this one. This one is more chocolatey than this one. This one is more amazing than this one. This one is definitely better than this one. So my final comparison, Jill's triple chocolate cookies are better than Tim Tams. I hope you understand a little more about making comparisons in English now. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for lots more English videos, and you can always follow me on Facebook and Instagram for lots of motivation and inspiration. Thanks for watching.